What's going on, everybody? John Pola here with My MMA News, and we're going down under for today's interview as I'm speaking to Janay Harding, who's joining us from Australia. She is fighting Leah McCourt at Bellator 259 on May 21st. So, Janay, it's been a few months since the last time we spoke. Just how you doing there in this time of the year there in Australia?
Yeah, good. This time I'm not in quarantine, I guess, so that's probably a positive in itself. And yeah, I'm enjoying the weather. It's getting a little bit colder, but it's really nice. Nice time of year.
So now the last time that we spoke, I believe it was in November. So over here in the States, we were gearing up for what was a long, cold winter. You were gearing up for the summer months there. Did you do anything fun for the summer? Did you go like any vacations? Do anything fun?
I guess it wasn't necessarily because of the season. It was just more because of post-fight and also sort of post-COVID. All the state restrictions lifted, so therefore I could travel interstate and go across and see my family in Queensland, which is just above New South Wales, where I am at the moment. And we got to go. My mom and I got to go to Cairns, which is kind of North Queensland, very tropical place, very like hot sort of area, especially around that time of the year. I also got to visit Newcastle, and then of course in my hometown Gold Coast. So definitely got to spend a lot of time there, enjoying the sun, enjoying everything that it has to offer. It was really good.
Yeah, traveling's always nice. And another thing that's nice, Janae, is something that's also new since the last time that we spoke. Bellator has a ranking system. So you're coming in now as the number 6 ranked featherweight in the world. Just your thoughts on Bellator having rankings made to the public finally after all this time and your position in it.
Yeah, really stoked to have the rankings. It definitely gives us a little bit more direction. If you're heading towards that title shot, you kind of know who you need to beat and where to go, and it sort of makes it a little bit more definitive who's deserving of these title shots. So I think it's going to be a great thing moving forward. Once everyone starts fighting too, it'll solidify all these positions. Anyone that kind of has questions about, I know there was like a few podcasts that were sort of questioning where people were. I know how hard it would have been to make, especially for like the featherweight division, featherweight females. It would have been extremely hard to sort of rank everyone, as we'd all sort of like fought each other and then beaten this person but lost to this person, but that person had beaten that person, and it was all very like a little bit confusing in a sense. But I think where they are right now, I'm super stoked with where I am. I think it's extremely deserving. It's good to know that I'm the youngest in the top 10. It's good to know that obviously we've got 2 Aussies in the top 10, which is a phenomenal feat from like a promotion like Bellator, and being such a small sort of population of MMA community over here, and still representing really well, myself and Arlene. So yeah, it's just great to see. It was such a cool little booster. Obviously it's not exactly where I want to be, but it's definitely well on its way, and that in itself was just a good little motivator to keep on going and heading towards that title.
And now we are going to talk a little bit about the positions and moving up and things like that in just a second, but I want to touch on your opponent now for a second. Leah is coming in as the number 7 ranked featherweight in the world. So just tell us a little bit about Leah and her as an opponent, and just how excited you are for this matchup.
Yeah, this matchup has been a very long time coming for the both of us. I think we've both known that we're going to fight each other. Obviously, then COVID hit, and then she had to get her shoulder surgery, etc. So yeah, long time coming, long time knowing that we were going to match up eventually down the track, and now we're finally here, and I can't wait at all. I think it will be a great matchup for me. Leah's obviously quite reputable in her amateur career specifically, and then of course in her judo and jiu-jitsu she's quite high ranked. So it's just a great stylistic fight, sort of, I guess, one of those striker versus grapplers, but at the same time we're both extremely diverse, and you can definitely see that from her amateur career and myself from my last few outings. So we both sort of have a lot to bring. We're both gamers, and at the end of the day it would be a really good fight, I reckon.
And now, how's your training camp going, too? Because it's, I guess, a somewhat unique situation. So when you announced the fight, it was only like, maybe like 5 weeks until it was going to be fight night. But at the same time, though, like you just alluded to, you guys kind of knew you were going to be fighting each other. It was just a matter of when the contracts would be signed. So just, how is camp going as you're preparing for kind of on short notice, but not really on short notice?
Yeah, it was a lot of that. It was a lot of like we have a date, then we don't necessarily have a date, and then we're in and out. So it was a lot of sort of like extreme, okay, taper it back a bit, extreme, taper it back a bit. It's been good. Honestly, like at the end of the day, I'm always training full time. It's just sort of like the diet and the intensity, I guess, of rounds and stuff that change. So it was just sort of just making sure that I looked after my mental health and made sure that I didn't like fizz myself out by doing too long of a camp, making it like a 12-week or a 15-week camp, and then by the end of it just being exhausted. Making sure I was still balancing everything, and when I had the opportunity, I quickly jet back to the Gold Coast and saw my family and friends for I think it was about 3 days. I was in and out in 3 days, and I chopped that 3 days out with not only social events, but a little bit of business as well. So it sort of gave me a good little reset, and I was extremely ready to just like get back to Sydney, jump straight back into it and go nose forth, but without any sort of restrictions or any necessity to sort of need to, I guess, like feel restricted or anything like that. So it was a really positive thing for me. The timing actually worked out really well. And right now, like my team and my schedule is kind of working out perfectly. So everything's coming together and I'm super excited.
So you were saying there about how like a 12 to 15 week camp it's very long, and by the time your fight night comes, you're exhausted and beat up from such a long camp. I guess generally when you're preparing for fights, how long do you want training camp to be? Because everybody's different. Some people do like the longer camps. Other people prefer short notice fights because it doesn't give them the time to beat up on their body and I guess overthink things. So what's kind of your MO? Like what do you like to have as a I guess set time length for a fight?
Well, especially since like one of those weeks is spent traveling, and like I'm saying, I do train full time all year round anyway. So it's sort of, I think like a good 6 weeks for me is like really solid. I have a 5 weeks here in Australia, even like 7, like the first week sort of just like casually like gliding into it. Doesn't have to be super strict on the diet, etc. I also don't have to cut that much weight to get to featherweight, so I'm sort of lucky that I don't have to start my diet months out, and I sort of don't have to maintain that low deficit like all throughout the year, etc. So sort of like starting that deficit maybe 6 weeks out, having a solid 5 weeks of just a good conditioning program, strength and conditioning program, some quality rounds, and then all our technical work and our game plan aspects. And then obviously the week before flying out, so that last week's all sort of concentrating on recovering and cutting weight and all that sort of stuff and doing all the usual fight week antics. So yeah, I think for me a solid 6 weeks is really good.
So now you come into this fight at number 6. She comes in at number 7, like I said earlier. Now again that we have this ranking system, do you think when you see the 6 versus 7, do you think a win guarantees you a spot in the top 5? And I mean, once you get into the top 5, there's not really too much higher to go. Like, do you think that a win really gets you into this title picture here in this great Bellator 145-pound division?
Yeah, I think it either solidifies my position in the top 6 or at 6, sorry, or boost me into the top 5. But for now, I think like since I guess these rankings are all new, etc., and we didn't necessarily know what each other was going to be ranked before we were matched up, and like we're saying, we've been matched up for a long time, and this has been a fight that's going to happen for a long time, then it's just more getting another win under my belt for now. I mean, if she was ranked higher than me, then there would be a little bit more pressure on where I would be after, but I think for now it's just solidifying my position at 6, coming away with a win against another 7 and against someone that has sort of been in a lot of people's mouths and stuff, just been talked about, and she's on the uprise. So I guess it's sort of one of those things, like I'm a little bit more experienced, so it's just solidifying that like resume and just asserting that I am where I need to be, and then probably from there on in starting to move into the top 5 and then going forth for the title shot.
And now Bellator 259 is going to be a night for the featherweights because the main event, of course, Cris Cyborg defending her title. Obviously, we know Cyborg's resume, one of the baddest women really of all time, possibly the best 145-pounder of all time. Just how excited are you to share a card with Cyborg and see how she handles business as the champ?
Yeah, I'm super excited. Such a extra motivator knowing that the main event, I'm hoping that I have enough time to be able to, finish my fight and still be able to watch that main event. since we are on the main card as well. But yeah, it's just another motivator to watch the featherweight title, the title that I want to attain, either move hands or solidify in Chris Cyborg's hands. And I think it's just going to be adding a little bit more buzz around the whole card, and especially for us females, I think there's maybe another 2 female fights on the card as well. Maybe the flyweight, sorry. And I think that's just great, like that we have solid, not just female fights that are maybe contenders or whatever, just solid like female fights coming through and hitting the main card and taking up majority of this space, which is really cool because it solidifies our position in MMA, and it just makes it a little bit more exciting to watch it and everything like that.
So Janay, I want to ask you another question too. This one isn't really, I guess, fight related. My parents watch all of my interviews that I do because I have to thank my parents too, very supportive parents that I have. And my dad actually asked me a question that I did not have the answer to the last time that we spoke, and that was your nickname of Hollow Point. Just explain to everybody exactly that nickname and how you got it.
Of course. This is a question I get asked a lot, and honestly, there's no fancy story about it. We were just throwing around. I remember, I think maybe I'd had 1 or 2 fights, and we were throwing around a few ideas. Everyone had fight names, and I didn't have a fight name. So throwing around ideas, my screen printer at the time that was making my merch came up with the idea Hollow Point, and I was like, that's perfect because, you know, like it's applicable. I'd finished my very first fight within the first round. I think it was like a minute 30 or something by TKO. It was an amateur fight, so I was like, yeah, perfect, devastating fashion. The gold and black would be a perfect vibe. The whole HP thing, and then it's just stuck from there on in. And I never really realized at the time, I guess, how solid it would have been. And I guess we're like 10 fights into my professional career, and I've still got it sticking there, and I really love it, so it's good.
All right, and Janay, one of the other things that we did the last time, I don't know if you remember, but was the Krispy Kreme donuts. We were, of course, talking about all of the food that you wanted to eat after your fight, and you mentioned that, of course, after your last victory in your post-fight press conference. Obviously, the fights are again at Mohegan Sun, Connecticut. What's the game plan for food after the fight? Are you doing the normal, was it Krispy Kreme? I think Chick-fil-A was in the mix. Do you have it all mapped out already?
Yeah, back to the Mohegan. So this will be my 3rd time at the Mohegan. So I've sort of mentally solidified what the map of the whole casino is, and where the food spots are, which is great. But the only problem is we're now on a main card, so I'm not sure how late I will finish. The good thing is it's on a Friday, so most of the things at Mohegan stay open pretty late, but it's going to be probably that same thing. Chick-fil-A, Ben & Jerry's, then to Krispy Kreme, and then if possible there is an Italian restaurant in there that sells, my coach is Italian, you're also Italian, but so you know it's got all the good stuff, and they have like some good desserts and stuff in there too. I think they have cannoli is one of my like favorite things ever. Hopefully I can go to Mike's Cannoli in Boston as well after, but we'll see how we go.
So the last time too that we spoke, Krispy Kreme related, we were trying to put it in the request for Australia to get the different flavors. They ever do that, or are you guys still just the basic glazed over there?
Pretty much just the basics. We have like the limited edition ones at the moment. It's funny because Australia actually do different ones as well that you guys don't have. So I think it's called I don't know, melting moments or like they're just like adding some of our like signature national biscuits into like versions of donuts. So I think it's like, I'm not a massive mint fan, but it's like a mint patty with like the donut on top, or you can get like the birthday cake ones now, and a few. I think we are slowly diversifying. You got to go to the big chains. You can't just go to like the 7-Elevens for the average shows. You got to go to like the big chains to get a little bit more diversity and get some of those better flavors for sure.
Well, I'm glad that you guys are getting more flavors over there, and I was worried that you weren't. So I actually, before we did this, Janay, I once again stopped at Krispy Kreme to pick up some donuts here. I don't know if you're able to see it. Let me pick it up just a little bit for you.
Yeah, see the yellow ones we don't have, the birthday cake ones.
No, that's the cake. That's the cake batter ones.
Yeah, those ones we need to start getting for sure.
They did have before. Because the reason why I wanted to pick these up, Krispy Kreme was doing this cool like Oreo looking one. They don't do it anymore. It was only like a month limited time edition, and I'm really pissed because I wanted to try it. Now there is an Oreo one here. The flavor that they're doing over here right now in the States is strawberry, Is there one that you want me to try for you, Janay? Give you the thumbs up or the thumbs down?
Might as well go for the cake batter one since I know that one's pretty good and we don't have it. So go for.
All right. Well, just to tell you if it's still okay. Oh yeah. Yep. It's still banging. And it's got that cream, that nice cake right in the middle there.
It's good to know you have those calories in my name because I would love to scoff my Krispy Kreme donut right now. Now 3 weeks, we're there.
Well, in 3 weeks, Janay, or in 5 weeks, whenever the fight, the 21st of May, as soon as you're done, make sure you check out the cake batter donuts from Krispy Kreme. You're gonna love them. So, Janay, I know you're busy. You got training camp to get to today. It's the morning over there as we're recording this. It's Tuesday night over here. Before you roll out and go to practice there, tell everybody your social media, management, sponsors, wherever they want to find you at, where they can get you.
Yeah, you can pretty much find me across the board on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Janay Harding. And yeah, shout out to all my my management, Ruby C and Maisie Sports, and all the guys that are behind me, Ruka, Combat, Greenlight Health, everyone, all my coaches and my teammates. Big love to everyone. You guys can see me sort of continuously shout them out on my socials. So yeah, big love to everyone and appreciate it.
All right, Janay, again, thank you so much for the time, and I'm going to go finish my donut here, everybody. But before I go shove my face with desserts, I just want to remind everybody to subscribe to this YouTube channel. You'll see more interviews just like this one, and keep going to MyMMANews. I know that you guys have been checking out our website, and we appreciate it whenever you guys do. If you haven't done so yet, please go to our social media accounts. Give us a like, give us a follow as well. This way you can keep up to date with everything. And not to mention that my boss, Eric Kowal, put some pretty funny memes out there that you guys are going to want to check out that are all fight related. And they usually catch on pretty well. There's some funny stuff that he puts out, so check those out. We'll see you later, everybody.